When my son died of a heart attack, his partner called me in the middle of the night. Come to my office immediately. I've found something, and God forbid you tell your daughter-in-law. It's dangerous. I rushed there like a madman, and what he showed me didn't make sense to me. I shouted, "She did it!" and turned her life into a nightmare. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The phone rang at 9:30 on a Tuesday morning in early February. I was sitting in my home office in Atlanta, reviewing old case files I'd never quite managed to throw away. 3 years into retirement, and I still couldn't let go of the prosecutor's habit of checking details twice. Sarah's voice came through flat, mechanical. "Newton, it's Kevin. He's gone. Heart attack, last night." The words hit like fists to the sternum. My throat closed. I tried to speak, but only managed a sound. Raw, animal, not words, not yet. "What? No, where is he? Which hospital?" "They already took him. There's nothing. You need to come here. Now." I don't remember grabbing my keys. Don't remember locking the door. The drive from my house to Buckhead took 30 minutes through morning traffic that felt like swimming through concrete. My hands shook so badly I had to pull over twice, once at a gas station, once on the shoulder of Peachtree Road. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white, forced air into my lungs, kept driving. Kevin and Sarah's house sat in a quiet Buckhead cul-de-sac, the kind of neighborhood where mortgages swallow your future whole. I'd co-signed for $680,000 3 years ago. The front door stood open when I arrived. Neighbors clustered on the lawn, speaking in hushed voices that stopped when they saw me. Sarah stood in the living room, phone in one hand, wearing black already. How did she have time to change? The medical examiner's van was pulling away from the curb. I started running after it, but Sarah called out, "It's too late. They've already taken him." I turned back. She looked at me with dry eyes, fresh manicure gleaming as she gestured toward the sofa. I walked past her to the mantel instead, touched Kevin's childhood photo, 8 years old, missing front tooth, holding a baseball trophy. Several other family pictures were gone. Rectangular dust marks showed where they'd been. When did this happen? Was he in pain? Did you call an ambulance? Around midnight, he said his chest hurt, then he just collapsed. It was so fast. The paramedics tried, but his chest? Kevin never had heart problems. Never? Sarah's fingers tightened around her phone. People hide things, Newton, even from their families. I wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come. Kevin was 36. I'd raised him alone after my wife died 5 years ago in that car accident on Highway 85. Every dollar, every weekend, every piece of advice I had went to him. The $250,000 I'd given him to start his business with James Davis. The mortgage guarantee. Years of Sunday dinners at this house, sitting across from Sarah while she smiled and poured wine and talked about vacation plans. 2 days later, Thursday afternoon, we met with the funeral director. Sarah made decisions quickly, efficiently. Cremation, simple service. No autopsy needed. The funeral director looked at me. "Mr. Hunter, would you like to consider—" "Cremation," Sarah interrupted. "Kevin wanted cremation." I leaned forward. "We never discussed that. Did he tell you that?" "We discussed everything. We were married 6 years." 6 years. I'd been in Kevin's life for 36. The viewing was Friday afternoon. Closed casket at Sarah's insistence. I stood alone in front of the polished wood while Sarah talked with her brother Christopher in the corner. Their conversation seemed too animated, too comfortable. Christopher's hand rested on her lower back. I counted the seconds. 10, 15. His thumb made small circles through the fabric of her black dress. The funeral service was sparse, maybe 40 people. Kevin's business partner James Davis sat in the back row, shoulders hunched, face pale. I'd met him a dozen times over the years. Good man, loyal, believed in Kevin's vision. He looked shaken, confused. During the service, I watched Sarah check her phone twice. The second time, she almost smiled before catching herself and smoothing her expression back to neutral. Christopher sat beside her, too close, whispering things that made her nod. After the service, after the line of people offering condolences I didn't hear, James pulled me aside near the cemetery gates. "Mr. Hunter, something isn't right. Kevin was fine last week, Better than fine. What do you mean? We just landed a huge contract. He was celebrating, healthy as ever. I opened my mouth to respond, but Christopher appeared, placed his hand on Sarah's elbow, guided her toward the parking lot. They climbed into the same car, her BMW. That was odd. Christopher drove a Jeep. I'd seen it at their house before. Everyone else filtered away. The grave workers waited by their equipment, patient, used to families needing time. I stood there as shadows lengthened across the grass, trying to remember the last thing Kevin had said to me. Something about a vacation, about visiting. My phone rang. Dr. Andrew Foster's name appeared on the screen. Mr. Hunter, I heard about Kevin. I'm so sorry, but I'm confused. His last checkup was perfect. No heart issues whatsoever. The cemetery went very quiet. Even the birds stopped singing. I stood at Kevin's grave with Dr. Foster's words echoing in my skull. Perfect health. No heart issues. The grave was still open, waiting to be filled. The workers leaned against their backhoe, smoking cigarettes, giving me space I didn't want. I drove straight from the cemetery to Kevin's house, Sarah's house now. The memorial reception was already underway. Cars lined both sides of the street. Through the front windows I could see people holding wine glasses, talking in clusters. Sarah had changed into a gray dress, not black. Her makeup was perfect, lipstick fresh. She moved through the living room like a cocktail party hostess, smiling, touching arms, accepting condolences with practiced grace. Christopher refilled her wine glass. Their fingers touched, lingered. I watched it happen 3 times. A woman I didn't recognize was measuring the dining room with a laser device. Sarah noticed me staring and walked over, Christopher trailing behind her. Newton, this is Barbara Chen. She's a realtor. Just getting information. The house has too many memories. 3 days. Kevin had been dead for 3 days. You're selling already? It's my house too, Newton. I can't afford the mortgage alone. Kevin's life insurance is still processing. Barbara Chen smiled professionally, handed Sarah several papers. It's a seller's market, Buckhead homes like this. You're looking at $850,000 minimum. How fast could it sell? With the right price, 2 weeks, 3 tops. I needed air. I walked to the kitchen, ran cold water over my hands. Kevin's coffee mug sat in the sink, unwashed. World's Best Dad printed on the side. I picked it up carefully, noticed a faint chalky residue at the bottom, set it back down exactly where I'd found it. Sarah followed me in. Christopher stayed in the doorway, watching. Tell me about the chest pain. When exactly did it start? Her answer came too smoothly. Tuesday morning. He woke up feeling off. Then Wednesday night. Worse. Thursday he promised to call Dr. Foster on Monday. But you didn't call an ambulance Thursday? When he was in pain? He refused. You know how stubborn Kevin was. Just like his father. I want to talk to the paramedics who came Friday night. Which station? Station 7, I think? Everything was chaos. I can't remember details. I turned to Christopher. You're here a lot. Don't you have work? His face flushed. Between jobs right now. Sarah needs family support. Family? Right. Where were you Friday night? What? I was home. Why? Just asking. Did Sarah call you when Kevin collapsed? She called the next morning, after everything. I left after an hour. Couldn't stomach watching Sarah play hostess, watching Christopher's hand on her shoulder, watching them pretend. I spent the weekend in a hotel room, staring at my phone, replaying conversations, counting inconsistencies. During the drive from Sarah's house that Friday night, I'd remembered my last phone call with Kevin. Thursday evening, 1 week before he died. His voice had been excited, energized. Dad, we did it. The Anderson Group signed. $1.2 million over 2 years? That's incredible, son. You've worked so hard. Couldn't have done it without your initial investment. That $250,000 you put in 5 years ago. Best thing that ever happened to us. Us? The business. Me and James. We're finally where we hope to be. You sound tired, though. Long hours. Sarah says I work too much. But it's worth it. We're planning a vacation next month. Maybe you could come visit? That was Thursday. Friday I was at a deposition all day. Didn't check my phone. Saturday morning, early, Sarah called. By Sunday, Kevin was in a casket. By Monday, he was ash. Monday morning, I drove to Dr. Foster's office before it opened. Sat in my car until I saw lights turn on inside. Waited in the reception area for 2 hours until he could see me. His nurse recognized me, brought coffee I didn't drink. Dr. Foster spread Kevin's medical records across his desk. Charts, test results, handwritten notes. Mr. Hunter, I've reviewed Kevin's entire file. No cardiac history. No family history on his mother's side either, correct? None. My wife died in a car accident. No heart disease. Then this makes no medical sense. A 36-year-old man, perfect health, sudden massive heart attack, it's extremely rare. What could cause it? Besides genetics? He hesitated, chose his words carefully. Extreme stress, cocaine use, or certain toxins. I took the printed records, signed the HIPAA release forms as Kevin's father and estate representative. Technically, Sarah controlled the estate, but Dr. Foster didn't ask questions. He knew me from the old days when I'd prosecuted medical fraud cases. He trusted me. I sat in my car in the parking lot, opened my phone, searched causes of sudden heart attack in healthy young men, scrolled through medical websites, forums, journal articles. One phrase kept appearing. Certain substances can mimic cardiac arrest symptoms. Poisoning. My hands started shaking again. I dialed a number I hadn't called in 3 years. Detective Patricia Morgan, my former colleague from the prosecutor's office. We'd worked dozens of cases together before I retired. She answered on the third ring. Newton, it's been ages. What do you need? I arrived at the police precinct before dawn, parking under the harsh glow of sodium lights. The building looked the same as when I'd worked here. Gray concrete, narrow windows, the smell of burnt coffee drifting from somewhere inside. I carried a folder with Dr. Foster's medical records and my own timeline, each date and event written in careful block letters. Detective Patricia Morgan appeared in the waiting room 40 minutes later. She looked older than I remembered, lines carved deeper around her eyes, gray threading through her dark hair, but her handshake was still firm. Newton, I heard about Kevin. I'm so sorry, but you sounded urgent on the phone. Patricia, something's wrong with this death. Kevin had no heart condition. Perfect health 2 months ago. She led me to her desk, pushed aside case files to make space. People have silent conditions. Sudden cardiac events happen. Not like this. His wife is acting strange. She had him cremated within 48 hours. That's her legal right as spouse. Grief makes people act in unexpected ways. This isn't grief. This is something else. Morgan pulled up the digital case file on her computer, then spread the printed death report across her desk. I read the words that made my stomach turn. Deceased, Kevin Hunter, 36. Cause, acute cardiac failure. Manner, natural. Body disposition, cremated, February 14th, 2025. Per spouse request. 2 days after he died. The paramedics found him in bed, Morgan explained. Wife called 911 at 11:47 p.m. They pronounced him at the scene at 12:16 a.m. Clean. No signs of trauma, no defensive wounds, no struggle. I argued for reopening the case. She made calls to the medical examiner's office, to her lieutenant. I watched her face through each conversation, recognizing the micro-expressions from our prosecutor days. Frustration, bureaucratic constraints, dead ends. I pulled the report, she said finally. Paramedics, medical examiner, everyone says natural causes. Can you order an investigation, exhume the body? Newton, there's no body. Cremated. And even if there was, I'd need probable cause. A grieving father's suspicions aren't enough. I was a prosecutor for 25 years. I know probable cause when I see it. Then you also know I need evidence. Bring me something concrete. I'll reopen this case personally, but right now, I have nothing. I left the precinct with Morgan's words echoing in my skull. I needed eyes on Sarah. By afternoon, I was sitting in Douglas Webb's office in a Marietta strip mall. Former cop, retirement age, still had the bearing. His handshake told me he stayed sharp. You want surveillance on your daughter-in-law? May I ask why? I think she killed my son. I can't prove it yet. That's a serious accusation. What am I looking for specifically? Anything unusual. Her behavior, her contacts, her spending. She's with her brother constantly. Too constantly. Understood. My rate is $150 per hour plus expenses. I'll need $5,000 up front. I wrote the check with careful, deliberate numbers. Each digit felt like ammunition I was buying. The next 3 weeks became a pattern. Webb delivered manila envelopes. I spread the contents across my home office. I built a wall of evidence. Timeline on the left, photographs in the center, financial questions on the right, red string connecting elements like the old days building cases. Week 1, 47 photos. Sarah and Christopher having lunch at the Capitol Grill, holding hands across the table. Week 2, hotel parking garage images. Christopher's car parked at Sarah's new apartment complex overnight. 3 different nights. Week 3, shopping receipts and photos. Sarah and Christopher at Lenox Square Mall. She was trying on expensive jewelry. He was paying with Kevin's credit card. I recognized the card design. I spent evenings parked outside Sarah's apartment, watching Christopher arrive at 9 with wine and takeout bags, watching lights go out at 2, driving home with sunrise. One night, I poured Kevin's favorite bourbon, Maker's Mark, into 2 glasses, set one in front of his photo on my mantel. Didn't drink either, just sat there until dawn broke through the windows. Wednesday afternoon, my phone rang. Sarah's voice was light, almost cheerful. "Newton, I hope you're doing okay. This has been so hard on all of us." I held the phone away from my ear for 3 seconds, composing myself. "What do you need, Sarah?" "I'm meeting with Kevin's estate attorney next week. There are some papers about the business and the house. Could you come? Kevin would want you involved. The business is between you and James Davis. I'm not an owner. But you're Kevin's father. Your input matters. Plus, there's the matter of that loan you gave Kevin for the startup. We should discuss repayment terms. Internal rage, external calm. We'll discuss it. Send me the meeting details." "Thank you, Newton. I know Kevin would appreciate you helping me through this." I hung up and stared at the wall of evidence. The photos, the timeline, the questions. My phone rang again. James Davis. "Mr. Hunter, we need to talk. Sarah's attorney just sent me papers. She's trying to force me to buy out Kevin's share of the business at a fraction of its value, and she's blocking me from accessing our company accounts. Can you meet me tomorrow?" The coffee shop was nearly empty at 8 in the morning. James looked terrible. Dark circles, wrinkled shirt, tremor in his hands as he slid legal documents across the table. I recognized the letterhead, Harrison and Associates, expensive downtown firm. Sarah had lawyered up with Kevin's money. "She's stealing from me, Mr. Hunter, from Kevin's memory. This business was our dream." I scanned the buyout demand. Sarah wanted James to purchase Kevin's 50% stake for $400,000. The business was worth at minimum $2.8 million. Kevin's half, $1.4 million. She was demanding less than a third of value and threatening legal action if he didn't comply within 30 days. Kevin's half is worth over $1 million. I know that. She knows that. Her attorney knows that. They're banking on me not fighting. Litigation would cost more than just paying. "Can you access the company books? See what she's been doing with the accounts?" "That's the problem. She changed everything. I'm locked out of my own company's finances." James had tried to review the accounting software that morning. Sarah changed all passwords, blocked his access. Her attorney claimed she had security concerns about business partner loyalty. I drove home in silence, James's documents on the passenger seat. The FedEx envelope arrived that afternoon, thick legal papers from Harrison and Associates. I read the cease and desist order 3 times, each read my jaw clenching tighter. "Mr. Hunter is hereby warned to cease all contact with Mrs. Sarah Hunter, including but not limited to surveillance, phone calls, third-party inquiries, and intimidation tactics. Continued harassment will result in restraining order and possible criminal stalking charges. 25 years as a prosecutor." I knew exactly what she was doing. Create a paper trail, make me look unstable. Grieving father losing touch with reality. If I pushed harder, she'd get a restraining order. Then everything I did would look like obsession. She was boxing me in. I called Webb the next day, told him we were done, met him one last time to settle accounts. He laid out the final batch of photos. Different restaurants, Christopher's hand on Sarah's thigh, both laughing. 4 weeks of surveillance, 73 photographs, detailed timeline. They're definitely having an affair. But nothing criminal. Nothing I can prove criminally. The affair itself isn't illegal. They're not threatening anyone. No obvious fraud visible. So I have confirmation she's a cheater, but not a killer. Mr. Hunter, I've been doing this 20 years. Sometimes bad people get away with things. Sometimes the evidence just isn't there. The evidence exists. I just haven't found it yet. Webb hesitated at his office door. I've seen men in your position before. Don't do anything foolish. I didn't respond. Shook his hand. Left. That weekend I couldn't sleep. Saturday morning I drove to Kevin's old house in Buckhead. Sarah had listed it 2 weeks earlier. No showings yet. I still had the key Kevin gave me years ago. Emergency access, he'd said, in case anything ever happened. The house was empty. Bare walls where family photos had hung. Dust outlines where furniture stood. My footsteps echoed through rooms that used to hold laughter and Sunday dinners. I touched the wall where Kevin's college diploma had hung, clean rectangle in the dust, everything else grimy. In Kevin's old bedroom, converted to a home office years ago, I found a box Sarah had missed or deliberately left. Kevin's childhood things, school awards, little league trophies, photos from age 5 to 18. I sat on the floor, back against the wall, holding a picture. Kevin at 10, gap-toothed smile, holding a fish we'd caught together. My mind drifted to 5 years earlier. Margaret's funeral. Winter, cold rain. I'd stood at the graveside, unable to move even after everyone left. Kevin had stayed, hand on my shoulder, saying nothing at first. Mom wouldn't want you standing in the rain, Dad. I don't know how to go home without her there. You're not going home alone. I'm staying with you tonight. And tomorrow night. However long you need. The next 6 months, Kevin had called every single day. Sometimes just to talk about nothing. Sometimes to make sure I'd eaten. Once he drove 2 hours because I hadn't answered the phone in 24 hours. Just wanted to check in person. Kevin saved me after Margaret died. He wouldn't let me disappear into grief. And now he was gone. And I was supposed to just accept it? Accept that the woman he loved killed him? A tear fell, just one. I wiped it away angrily. I arranged Kevin's trophies and photos carefully back in the box, closed it, carried it to my car with both hands, precious cargo. Kevin, I said aloud in that empty room, you trusted her. We all did. She seemed so perfect for you. Quiet, supportive, stable. I looked at his childhood photo again. Remember when you were 8, you lost that science fair, cried all night. Next year, you won first place. You never gave up. My voice broke slightly. I gave you everything. The business money, $250,000 of my retirement. The house guarantee, $680,000 loan I co-signed. Every Sunday dinner for 6 years. I stood, my voice hardening. She thinks I'll just accept this. Roll over. Grieve quietly like a proper father. She doesn't know me at all. I left at sunset, driving home through streets that blurred slightly. That night I sat in darkness in my living room. Kevin's childhood box was on the coffee table. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Finally picked up on the 5th ring. Male voice, hushed, urgent. Mr. Hunter? This is James Davis. Don't hang up. I'm calling from a burner phone. Sarah can't know. I found something at the office. I need you to come to my place immediately. Don't go to the office. My home. And Mr. Hunter, don't tell anyone you're coming. This is dangerous. I sat in darkness with Kevin's childhood box on the coffee table. Friday evening, mid-April. The cease and desist letter sat on the kitchen counter where I'd left it a week ago, its legal threats feeling distant now, meaningless. My phone rang. Unknown number. I stared at it through 3 rings, debating. Picked up on the 4th. Mr. Hunter, I'm using a burner phone. Don't say my name. Don't mention this call to anyone. James Davis. His voice was tight, wound like a spring ready to snap. James, what's... My address is 847 Orm Circle. Virginia Highland. Come now. Alone. Don't go to the office. This is about Kevin. It's bad. I'm leaving now. Check if anyone follows you. I'm serious. I grabbed my keys, didn't bother with the jacket. The drive through Atlanta took 35 minutes. Normally 50, but I didn't care about speed limits. I ran a red light on Ponce de Leon. First time in my life. My knuckles were white on the steering wheel. James's bungalow sat on a quiet street, lined with oak trees. Modest house, well maintained, lights blazing from every window. He opened the door before I knocked, pulled me inside, immediately locked the deadbolt. What's happening? Why all the secrecy? Because Sarah can't know we're meeting. Her attorney made it clear. No contact between you and me about company business. You said this was about Kevin. It is. Everything is about Kevin. I found out how he died. Ice flooded my veins. Show me. His living room had been converted into a makeshift investigation center. Laptop on the coffee table, stacks of financial printouts spread across every surface, external hard drive blinking red. Coffee cups everywhere. James hadn't shaved in days. 3 months ago, money started disappearing. Small amounts at first. I couldn't prove anything. Sarah controlled the passwords. So you installed cameras. 4 of them. I was looking for financial evidence. Whoever was embezzling. I thought maybe Sarah, maybe someone else. Then I found the footage from February. February? Before Kevin died? He nodded, hands shaking as he opened the laptop. 3 days before. Mr. Hunter, you need to prepare yourself. What you're about to see. Just show me. James navigated to an encrypted folder, clicked play. The video loaded. Office kitchen, daytime. Timestamp in the corner. February 8th, 2025, 2:47 p.m. Empty kitchen for 30 seconds. Then Sarah entered the frame. She glanced toward the door. Casual. Checking. Walked to the counter where a coffee mug sat. I recognized it instantly. World's best dad in faded letters. I'd given Kevin that mug 2 years ago, before he and Sarah had stopped trying for children. Sarah reached into her purse, pulled out a small clear packet with white powder. She tore it open with her teeth, poured the contents into the mug, used a spoon to stir. The whole process took 47 seconds. She dropped the empty packet back in her purse, rinsed the spoon under the faucet, left the kitchen. I couldn't breathe. James paused the video on Sarah's face as she stirred. Her expression was calm, focused, no emotion whatsoever. That's his coffee mug. I gave him that mug. He used it every day, always left it on the counter for his afternoon coffee. Sarah knew that. The powder, what is it? I don't know for certain, but Kevin died 3 days after this footage. Heart attack. Sudden. No warning. My hands gripped my knees so hard my knuckles turned white. A sound escaped my throat. Not quite a word. Something primal. How many times? How many videos? James swallowed hard. 6. 6 different days over 2 weeks. February 1st through February 10th. The last one was the night before he died. I sat in complete silence for a full minute. James didn't interrupt. My mind was cataloging everything. Chain of custody, admissibility, evidence preservation. The prosecutor in me was fully awake now, razor sharp, cutting through the grief. Show me again. We watched it a second time. I counted. 47 seconds. 3 glances toward the door. 2 stirs of the spoon. She was right-handed. The packet was clear, unmarked. Her movements were deliberate, practiced. She murdered him, on camera, in his own office. She didn't know about the cameras. I never told Kevin I installed them. Why didn't you go to the police immediately? I was scared. Sarah's attorney already threatened me about the buyout. If I accused her without being absolutely certain, and Mr. Hunter, you were a prosecutor, is this enough? Can this be used in court? My voice was steady, cold. It's enough. Chain of custody needs documentation, but it's enough. We have her. James stared at the paused video, Sarah's face frozen in the act of stirring poison into Kevin's coffee. He took a shaky breath. There are 5 more videos. Different days. The last one was February 10th. I leaned forward. Show me all of them. Every single one. Then show me the financial records you mentioned. I want to see everything. James clicked through files, showing me the timestamps. February 1st, 3rd, 5th, 8th, 10th. 5 more poisonings across 10 days. A methodical execution. We watched them in sequence, each one more damning. The February 1st video showed Sarah's first attempt. Her hands shook slightly. By February 10th, the night before Kevin died, her movements were practiced, confident. She'd gotten comfortable with murder. My face was expressionless through all 6 videos, but a muscle in my jaw twitched with each new one. 6 videos, 6 twitches. Between videos, James explained how he'd discovered the financial fraud. Kevin had made Sarah office manager a year ago. I remembered Kevin mentioning it, a flash of memory from a phone call. Kevin's voice, excited. Dad, I did something nice for Sarah. She's been feeling isolated, wants to contribute. What did you do? Made her office manager. It's mostly just a title, but she'll help with bookkeeping, feel more involved in the business. That's generous of you. She's my wife. What's mine is hers. James understands. Generous. That's what Kevin was. Generous. Trusting. Loving. He gave her everything. His name, his money, his trust, his life. And she took it all. Every last piece. James pulled up bank statements on the laptop. Transfers highlighted in yellow. My finger traced them on the screen, counting, calculating. $3,200 on June 15th, 2024. $5,500 on July 3rd. $8,000 on August 12th. James's voice was hollow. Pattern continues through January 2025. Total, $167,000 stolen while Kevin was alive. Where did it go? Peachtree Marketing Consultants, LLC, a shell company that doesn't exist. I hired a forensic accountant. Spent $8,000 of my own money. Richard Torres, CPA, certified forensic examiner. He traced everything. James handed me a thick folder. I weighed it in my hand. 367 pages. Torres's complete audit report. Every transaction documented, source records attached. Expert analysis included. Torres found the money trail. Peachtree LLC transferred everything to an offshore bank. Cayman Islands, account holder, Christopher Mitchell. I looked up sharply. Christopher, not just her brother, her accomplice. I processed everything. Sarah wasn't just a gold digger. She was sophisticated. She created a shell company. She poisoned Kevin methodically over 10 days, building up toxin levels. She manipulated her own brother into the scheme. She played everyone, Kevin, me, James, the entire community. I thought she was simple, I said, almost to myself. Small-town girl, a bit naive. Kevin said she grew up in rural Georgia, barely finished community college. That was the act. Mr. Hunter, this level of planning, shell companies, offshore accounts, systematic poisoning, this takes intelligence and research. We all underestimated her. That was her weapon. Kevin never suspected. He trusted her completely. That trust killed him. James plugged in a flash drive, 256 GB, encrypted. The file transfer took 15 minutes. Both of us silent, watching the progress bar. Videos, financial records, Torres's audit, time-stamped documentation. Everything. He handed me the flash drive, smaller than my thumb, containing proof of my son's murder. I pocketed it in my jacket's inner pocket, patted it once, keeping it close to my heart, where Kevin should be. I've watched these 50 times, James said quietly. It doesn't get easier. February 1st through 10th. 10 days. Why so many times? I researched it. Some poisons work through accumulation, small doses over time. Looks like natural organ failure. She was building it up in his system, methodical, patient. That's what makes it so terrifying. This wasn't impulse. This was planned. I stood, placed my hand on James's shoulder, the first physical contact between us, a moment of shared understanding. We were soldiers now, fighting the same war. What do we do now? Take this to the police? Not yet. Police involvement means Sarah lawyers up immediately. Evidence gets locked in discovery. Trial takes years. But we have proof she killed Kevin. We have proof. But I want more than a trial. I want her destroyed. Every aspect of her life. And I want her to know it's coming but be helpless to stop it. James looked uncertain. That sounds like justice. That's exactly what it is. Sarah took my son methodically, patiently, piece by piece. I'll return the favor. What do you need from me? Continue playing the victim. Fight the buyout, but slowly. Act scared. Let her think she's winning. Can you do that? Yes. But Mr. Hunter, be careful. If she killed Kevin, she's dangerous. I walked to the door, my stride different than when I'd arrived. Purposeful. Predatory. A man with a mission instead of a man lost in grief. So am I. I drove home through empty Atlanta streets. Late night, minimal traffic. The flash drive sat in my jacket pocket. I touched it every few minutes, reassuring myself it was real. At a red light, I pulled out my phone, searched for a criminal defense attorneys in Atlanta. Not for myself. I needed to understand what Sarah would do when I struck. The light turned green. My face in the rearview mirror showed a man who'd found his purpose. My phone rang. Unknown number. Again. I answered. Detective Morgan's voice. Newton, I heard your son's widow filed a harassment complaint against you. We need to talk. My office, Monday morning. This is serious. Monday morning, I sat across from Detective Morgan in her precinct office. Sarah's harassment complaint file lay open on her desk. Morgan looked uncomfortable. Newton, I have to take this seriously. She's claiming stalking, intimidation, unwanted contact. I understand. Patricia, I need to show you something. But first, I need you to connect me with a prosecutor you trust. Her eyes narrowed. What do you have? Proof. Complete, undeniable proof of how Kevin died. I left Morgan's office and drove straight to Midtown. Rachel Thompson agreed to meet me within the hour. Her law office occupied a renovated historic building, all exposed brick and modern glass. We'd worked together 15 years ago when she was a young prosecutor, and I was her supervisor. Now she had her own practice: criminal defense, wrongful death, complex litigation. In her conference room, I connected my laptop and showed her all 6 videos. She watched in silence, professional mask cracking slightly when Sarah poured the powder into Kevin's mug. This is murder, premeditated, documented, undeniable, but prosecutable. The videos are powerful. But Newton, the defense will attack every angle. No body means no toxicology proving cause of death. Can't definitively prove what the powder was. Hair sample. James kept Kevin's hair from a haircut. Can that be tested? Yes. Hair analysis can show arsenic, heavy metals, certain poisons that accumulate. That could be crucial. Then we have everything we need. Almost. We need strategy. Sarah has money, Kevin's money, to hire the best defense. Rachel moved to the whiteboard, sketching rapidly. Red marker for civil action, blue for criminal, green for asset freeze, arrows connecting everything. Why file civil lawsuit first? Won't that tip her off before criminal charges? That's the point. Civil lawsuit has lower burden of proof. If we win there, and we will, it establishes facts. Then criminal prosecution becomes stronger. You want to hit her twice. Once in civil court, once in criminal. Exactly. Civil suit also lets us freeze her assets immediately. Emergency injunction. She can't sell property, can't access accounts, can't flee. How long until she's arrested? If we time it right, same day we file. I'll coordinate with the DA's office and Detective Morgan. She'll be blindsided. I lean back in my chair. That gets her arrested. I want more. Rachel set down the marker. What do you mean? Sarah spent weeks feeling victorious while I suffered. I want her to feel that same helplessness, that same despair. What exactly are you planning? I'm going to make her believe she's won. Completely, totally won. Then I'm going to destroy that illusion in a single moment. Newton, we need to stay within legal boundaries. Everything will be legal, but it will also be devastating. Trust me. The next 3 weeks became a careful choreography. Meeting with contacts, arranging pieces, practicing deception. It took me 12 days and $12,000 cash to find Gerald Banks, retired notary, stage 4 lung cancer, drowning in medical bills. We met in a diner parking lot. I slid an envelope across the table. You're asking me to forge a legal document. That's a crime. You're dying. Medical bills drowning you. Doesn't make it right. This woman murdered my son. The will is a tool to trap her. It'll never be filed with probate, just shown to her privately. Long pause. Banks coughed into his handkerchief. 12,000, cash, and I never met you. Deal. The forged will was perfect. Kevin's signature traced from real documents, proper legal language, dated 6 months before his death. Leaves all assets to Sarah. Names her sole beneficiary. Even included Kevin's lawyer's letterhead. I called Sarah, voice carefully modulated. Sarah, I've been thinking. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe grief made me paranoid. Can we talk? She agreed, suspicious but curious. I suggested Piedmont Park for our meeting. Public, neutral, the kind of place where a grieving father might seek reconciliation. I arrived early, rehearsed my performance one final time. Shoulders slumped, eyes downcast, voice trembling slightly. Sarah appeared in designer athleisure, sunglasses pushed up on her head, cautious. Newton, I appreciate you reaching out. My hands shook, calculated tremor. Sarah, I owe you an apology. I let grief make me irrational. I understand. Losing Kevin was hard on all of us. I found something. In Kevin's old filing cabinet at my house, he gave me some papers to store years ago. I pulled out the will, touched Kevin's signature with apparent emotion. My voice cracked once, on purpose. He loved you, trusted you completely. I should have trusted his judgment. She read it, fingers tightening on the paper, eyes brightening, trying to stay composed, but failing. This is... Kevin left everything to me? That's what I want. Family. Kevin would want us to be family. Her smile was genuine. First time since his death. Yes, that's exactly what Kevin would want. Over the following week, Sarah grew bolder, called twice asking for advice on estate matters, testing if I was genuinely fooled. I played my role, meek, accepting, defeated. 3 days later, I was back in Rachel's office. She spread 3 sets of documents across her conference table. Civil lawsuit, criminal complaint, asset freeze motion. We file Thursday morning, all 3 simultaneously. Sarah will be arrested by afternoon. I picked up the civil complaint, read the first line. Newton Hunter, vs. Sarah Mitchell. Hunter, wrongful death action. Set it down carefully. Thursday then, let's finish this. Thursday morning, late May. I stood outside the Fulton County Courthouse as the building opened. Lawyers flowed up the steps with briefcases and coffee cups. Rachel was beside me, carrying 3 file folders. Ready? I nodded once. We walked inside together. Civil Division, Counter 3. Rachel filed the wrongful death lawsuit first. The clerk stamped it. Received 8:47 a.m. Claims, intentional poisoning resulting in death, fraud, emotional distress. Damages sought, $5 million. Wrongful death. This is substantial. The claim is substantial. The evidence is overwhelming. Defendant will be served within 48 hours. Rachel's smile was thin. She'll be served sooner than that. Much sooner. Same building, different floor. Criminal Division. Rachel handed DA Prosecutor Victoria Chen the flash drive containing all 6 videos. Forensic accounting report. Sworn statements from James and me. Chen watched 30 seconds of the first video. Stopped it. Set down her coffee without taking her eyes off the screen. Replayed it twice. These videos, they're authenticated. Chain of custody documented. Installed by the business partner 3 months ago. Cloud-backed storage. Time-stamped. Never accessed until now. Clean chain. The victim was cremated. No toxicology. Hair sample analyzed. Arsenic levels 40 times normal. Results attached. Chen closed the file. I'll have arrest warrants signed within 2 hours. She'll be in custody by end of business today. I spoke for the first time. Make it public. Very public. Mr. Hunter, I understand your desire for... She paraded her victory. Now she gets a public fall. Emergency motion hearing at 10:30. Judge Raymond Foster presiding. Rachel argued for immediate asset freeze. Defendants have already stolen $167,000, have offshore accounts, are flight risks. Sarah's attorney wasn't even present. No notification, no time. Judge granted the motion. All bank accounts, property, investment accounts, frozen pending investigation. Detective Morgan led the arrest team. 2 unmarked cars, 4 uniforms as backup. They arrived at Sarah's luxury apartment complex at 2:15 p.m. Sarah answered the door in yoga pants and designer tank top, wineglass in hand. Her expression moved through confusion, disbelief, terror in 3 seconds. Sarah Mitchell Hunter, you're under arrest for the murder of Kevin Hunter. The wineglass dropped, didn't shatter, bounced on carpet. Her hands went up reflexively, mouth opening. No words at first. What? No. This is insane. Newton, did you... This is because of... Morgan read her rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I didn't do anything. Kevin died of a heart attack. This is harassment. Christopher was on the couch. Jumped up when he saw police. Put his hands behind his back before being asked. Knew the routine. Christopher Mitchell, you're also under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder and wire fraud. I want a lawyer. Not saying anything without a lawyer. Perp walk. Sarah in handcuffs. Photographers catching everything. Her face frozen in shock. Christopher beside her, head down, already defeated. By 4 p.m., the footage was on 3 local news stations. Atlanta ABC affiliate ran it first. Breaking Buckhead widow arrested and husband suspected poisoning death. Interview with police spokesperson. Quick shot of the marketing firm. Old photo of Kevin smiling. I watched from my living room. Sat in Kevin's favorite chair, remote in hand, turning up volume when Sarah's face appeared on screen. No smile, just satisfaction. Bail hearing Friday morning. Sarah and Christopher each needed $500,000. Sarah's hastily hired public defender argued for reduced bail. No record. Ties to community. DHN countered with the videos, the offshore accounts. Judge set bail at $500,000 each. They made bail by afternoon. Loan against Kevin's house secured through a predatory lender at 18% interest. Sarah called that evening. I was expecting it. Poured myself bourbon, finally drank it this time, then answered on the fourth ring. Her voice came through like shattered glass. Screaming, incoherent at first, then focused. "You did this, you lion snake. That one was fake." I let her rage for 30 seconds, then spoke, voice like ice. "Every word was a lie, Sarah. Just like your tears at Kevin's funeral. Just like your marriage vows. You can't prove anything. I'll fight this. I already proved it. 6 videos. You poisoning my son. Investigators recovered the arsenic from his hair. Your offshore accounts are frozen. Your house is collateral for bail. You're drowning." Panic broke through her rage. "I'll tell them. I'll say you—" "Say what? That a former prosecutor with 25 years' experience outsmarted you? That you murdered my son and I caught you? Tell them, Sarah. Tell everyone. I hate you. Good. Now you know how I felt watching you walk free after killing Kevin. Welcome to your reckoning." I hung up. That night, I sat in my home office. Rachel texted, "Sarah hired Linda Harrison, one of the best. This will be a fight." I typed back, "Good. I want her to fight. I want her to spend every dollar, exhaust every option, and still lose." I opened my laptop, began researching Linda Harrison's past cases, her strategies, her weaknesses. The next battle was already beginning. My phone buzzed again. "James, I saw the news. Everyone at the office saw it. What happens now?" I typed my response. "Now we wait for her to make mistakes. Desperate people always do." Early June, I sat in the gallery of Fulton County Superior Court, 3rd row on the left. Same seat I'd occupied for every preliminary hearing over the past 3 weeks. Sarah sat at the defense table with Linda Harrison, wearing a conservative gray suit that couldn't hide how much weight she'd lost. Dark circles under her eyes, even with makeup. The bailiff called the case, State of Georgia versus Sarah Mitchell Hunter. I took notes like I was still a prosecutor. Every motion, every argument, every small defeat for the defense. Motion to suppress video evidence. Denied. Motion to reduce bail. Denied. Motion for gag order on media coverage. Partially granted, but the damage was already done. Sarah's face had been on the news for weeks. The financial destruction accelerated throughout June. Chase Bank sent foreclosure notices to Sarah's apartment. 4 months of missed mortgage payments. March, April, May, June. She defaulted before the asset freeze even began. Harrison fought it, lost. The house would be auctioned. I drove by Kevin's old house once, saw the bank's notice taped to the front door. Didn't stop, just noted it, and kept driving. Christopher's interrogation happened in phases over 3 weeks. Detective Morgan called me after each session with updates. First session, complete denial. Second session, admitted the affair but claimed no knowledge of murder. Third session, DHN showed him the offshore account evidence, the wire transfers, Sarah's emails about our future together. He broke completely. "I want a deal, complete immunity." "Not happening," Chen told him, "but we can talk about reduced time. Tell us everything." Christopher's confession was detailed, damning. Sarah had approached him 18 months ago with the plan. They researched arsenic online together. She ordered it from 3 different vendors to avoid suspicion, used his credit card so nothing traced to her, promised to pay him back $500,000 after Kevin died. He knew she was poisoning Kevin. He helped her research dosages. The forensic lab report arrived mid-June. Kevin's hair showed arsenic accumulation starting in January, spiking dramatically in February. Dr. Patricia Walsh, the toxicologist, confirmed the levels were fatal within days. Christopher's plea hearing was packed. Sarah sat stone-faced while her brother sobbed through his allocution. I was weak. She promised me money. I knew it was wrong. I'm sorry. 15 years for conspiracy to commit murder and wire fraud. Could be out in 10 with good behavior. Sarah's head dropped to the table when the judge accepted the plea. Harrison's hand on her shoulder, an audible sob echoing through the courtroom. I made eye contact with Sarah once during a recess. She looked away first. July 15th, Sarah tried to run. Used her maiden name. Fake passport purchased online for $3,000. More debt she couldn't pay. One-way ticket to Cancun, then planned to disappear into Central America. TSA flagged the fraudulent passport, held her until police arrived. Morgan called me. She tried to board a flight to Mexico. We're bringing her in now. I drove to the airport within 20 minutes, watched from behind observation glass as Sarah was escorted through security in handcuffs, her designer luggage being searched by federal agents. Our eyes met through the glass, 3 seconds, hers filled with hatred and desperation, mine completely empty of mercy. Rachel texted me that evening. Bail revoked. She'll stay in custody until trial. Flight attempt strengthens our case. Consciousness of guilt. Late July, I received formal notice. Trial date set, August 18th. I sat in my home office looking at Kevin's photograph on my desk, the same one from his childhood, gap-toothed smile holding the fish we'd caught together. Almost over, son. Almost done. 3 more weeks and she'll pay for what she did to you. I texted James. Trial starts August 18th. Will you testify? His response came immediately. I'll be there. For Kevin. August 28th. Late summer morning, I stood outside Fulton County Superior Court, courtroom 6D, the final day of trial. Rachel stood beside me, both of us in formal court attire. Media vans lined the street, reporters positioned on the courthouse steps. My phone showed 9:47 a.m. Rachel's phone buzzed. Jury has reached a verdict. Courtroom in 10 minutes. The courtroom filled quickly. I sat in the first row behind the prosecution table. Sarah was led in wearing an Orange County jail jumpsuit, bail revoked after her flight attempt. She looked 20 years older than in her wedding photo the prosecution had displayed during trial. Judge Margaret Reynolds entered. Has the jury reached a verdict? The jury foreman stood, middle-aged man, accountant. He'd looked sick throughout the video evidence testimony. We have, Your Honor. On count 1, murder in the first degree, how do you find? We find the defendant, Sarah Mitchell Hunter, guilty. Sarah gasped audibly. Her body seemed to fold in on itself. Harrison caught her arm. Count 2? Wire fraud? Guilty. Count 3? Forgery? Guilty. Count 4? Attempted flight? Guilty on all counts, Your Honor. Each word landed like a hammer blow. My hands unclenched slowly as each verdict was read. Sentencing began immediately. D.A. Chen stood. The people recommend life imprisonment without possibility of parole. This was premeditated, calculated murder, motivated by greed. The defendant showed no remorse, attempted to flee, and destroyed multiple lives. Harrison made a perfunctory argument for mercy. Mrs. Hunter has no prior record. She's lost everything. Judge Reynolds cut her off. Ms. Harrison, your client poisoned her husband methodically over 2 weeks. Mercy is not appropriate. The judge pronounced sentence. Sarah Mitchell Hunter, you are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment in the Georgia Department of Corrections, without possibility of parole. Christopher Mitchell's sentence of 15 years is affirmed. Civil judgment of $2.1 million is awarded to plaintiff Newton Hunter. This court is adjourned. Sarah broke. Turned to me, sobbing. Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean... He never paid attention to me. I was lonely. Please forgive me. Guards restrained her as she tried to approach. I stood, looked at her directly for the first time since the verdict. My voice was steady, emotionless. Kevin loved you more than you deserved. He trusted you with his life. You took everything from him. You don't deserve forgiveness. You deserve exactly what you're getting. I turned and walked out. Her screaming followed me into the hallway. September moved quickly. I signed papers establishing the Kevin Hunter Memorial Foundation. Initial funding, $2.1 million from the civil judgment. Mission, support children who'd lost parents to violence. Provide counseling, education funds, stability. Late September, I drove to Oakland Cemetery. Kevin had been exhumed and properly buried in August. Simple granite headstone. Kevin Michael Hunter, 1989-2025. Beloved son, devoted friend, forever missed. I placed flowers, sat on the grass beside the grave, brushed fallen leaves off the headstone with careful, gentle movements. Kevin, it's done. Sarah will spend the rest of her life in prison. Christopher is locked away. Justice won. I kept my promise to you. I paused, touching the cold stone. You can rest now. I love you, son. Always. I sat for 30 minutes in silence, then stood, touched the headstone once, walked away with steady steps. Months passed. I found new purpose working as a consultant for crime victims' families. My phone rang one afternoon. Mr. Hunter, my name is Patricia Reynolds. My daughter was killed last year, and the police say there's no evidence. I heard about your son's case. Can you help me? Tell me everything, Mrs. Reynolds. Start from the beginning. Why would you help me? You don't know me. I know what it's like to lose a child and have everyone tell you to accept it. I know what it's like to fight for truth when everyone says to give up. I'll help you. Her voice broke. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll find the truth, whatever it takes. That's what I do now. James continued Kevin's business under a new name, Hunter Legacy Marketing. The sign went up in October. He sent me a photo, Kevin's picture on the office wall, smiling at the company's founding. My partner, Kevin Hunter, started this company on the principle of integrity. We honor that legacy every day, James told his clients. One evening in early fall, I cooked dinner in my kitchen. Kevin's childhood photos covered the refrigerator. My phone buzzed. Text from James. Signed a new client today. $800,000 contract. Kevin would be proud. I smiled. First genuine smile in months. Texted back. He is proud. So am I. I hummed while finishing dinner, feeling something I hadn't felt since February. Not happiness exactly, but peace. Purpose. Kevin's memory honored through action rather than grief alone. The nightmare had ended. Justice was served, and life, somehow, continued forward. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.